Hi, everybody. This is Sam Gajak with Independent Processor Magazine. I am speaking today with Justin Freistadt from Heartland Foods. He's the Vice President of Sales for the company. And Justin, thanks for taking the time to talk with us this afternoon.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited for this.
All right, so there are a lot of meat companies that sell products online, but yours is a little bit different in that you have health and wellness consultants as well as just the usual ordering online. So can you talk a little bit about how Heartland Foods acts as more than an online meat retailer?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we take a more comprehensive consultative approach to how we serve our families. So it's not just go online, pick a box, set package, and it ships to you. It's way more customized. So we basically sit with each individual family and we take a look at what would be a perfect customized plan for them, meaning that they can actually customize how thick things are cut, the ounces they want them packed in, and they don't have to get a mixed box or set package. They can customize just the cuts that they want, the way they want them cut, so that way they're getting all the things that they want and none of the things that they don't.
Okay, so when a customer wants to order from you, and I said there isn't like an online store, as you said, where they just click a box and have things sent. So there's this talk then. So after that, what are the options available to them as far as proteins and as far as different types of products?
So we do everything as far as the proteins go across the board. So your beef, poultry, pork, seafood. We have a comprehensive exotic list as well. So pretty much if you eat it, for the most part, we can get it. And we do have a comprehensive list of vegetables and quick and easy products as well. And a lot of our customers actually get a grocery package included with their delivery. The same types of things you'd see at your wholesale clubs, from condiments, pastas, laundry detergents, paper towels, toilet paper. So most of our families will end up getting about 70 to 80% of their shopping done in one place.
Oh, all right. So I know the COVID pandemic has really changed how people shop in many ways. But before that all happened, then what were some of the reasons that consumers were turning to the internet to buy their meat products?
I think convenience has always been the number one thing that people look for first when it comes to just food in general. And that's the main reason why people shop with us to begin with. So we deliver everything, it's all custom cut and packed. But the shift to online really has come in emergence with all the ship direct companies, the meal kit services, and a box full of meat, things like that. So for us, with the COVID shift, we've gone towards virtual presentations. It's still the same consultative approach where you meet with an independent wellness consultant that will customize your package. But instead of doing it in person like we traditionally do it, we have an online version of that consultation as well.
Okay. So, how has the pandemic and the shifts in consumer buying habits affected Heartland Meats then? What have you all had to do to kind of compensate for what I presume is a lot more traffic?
Yes, it's been exponential growth like we've never seen before. And especially at the beginning of the pandemic craze, when grocery stores were going through shortages, people were panicking. You couldn't get meat, depending on where you live. It was worse in certain places than others. Fortunately for us, none of our products come from what we call the commercial supply chain. So we were completely unaffected by shortages. So everybody that knew someone that had our service was, do you have meat? And the answer was yes the entire time. Our farms were still producing everything that we needed, and we were able to fulfill all of our orders on time, business as usual. We just had a lot of internal struggles with dealing with that type of expansion under a very short period of time. So it was more trucks, more hours, more employees, stressing the systems, but we were able to get through it. Everybody got their orders on time, and it's been very busy still at this point. It hasn't really slowed down at all.
Okay. So even before then, typically when someone is looking to buy steaks or buy chicken, that sort of thing, they're able to pick up the package, maybe flip it over, look at color, look at fat content, and there was a lot of comfort in knowing exactly what it is that you're getting. So when we're talking about buying raw cuts online, obviously you don't have that opportunity to see what you're getting. So how comfortable are consumers with buying meat sight unseen? And maybe what are some of the things that Heartland does to kind of help ease any concerns that people might have about that?
That's a very interesting question. I think people do that because there is so much inconsistency with what's available in the stores. You're sifting through all those things because you can look at one steak to the next and there's vast difference, just like you said, in the marbling, the color, all of these things. And that's just because there's no consistency in the commercial supply chain. So the big difference with us is the education piece that we go through with every single customer before they sign up for our program. So it's letting them know exactly what farms that we work with, finding out what's important to them. Is it grass-fed, grass-finished? Is it grass-fed, grain-finished? And depending on the goals that they're looking for, we can educate them on the differences with our farms. And by the end of that, it's not really even a question anymore because you're dealing with a whole nother level of quality that just isn't available in the commercial supply chain.
Okay, so if people are looking for a claims-based meats, which is kind of what we're using at least to describe things like grass-fed, grass-finished, organic. What are some of the most popular things that people are looking for as far as their beef products?
Yes, so grass-fed is a huge buzzword, and it's very misleading in the big supply chain. So just to give you a couple examples, there's something called DDGs, or dried distiller grains. It's a byproduct from corn that is sold back to the cattle industry. So just to kind of bring that full circle, you have things like ethanol that is made, whiskey, all of this is made from grains. And on the back end of that, there's a byproduct that's sold back to the cattle industry. The USDA does not recognize these grain byproducts as grains. So you could be buying grass-fed beef that was still given DDGs in the feeds. So we have certain guarantees when you shop with us. We don't claim grass-fed because that's a very loosely used term. The thing you should be looking for is pasture raised. It's the same thing when you're shopping for your eggs or butter. Cage-free, free-range, grass-fed, these terminologies don't mean as much as people think. So you should be buying pasture-raised butter, pasture-raised eggs, pastured meat. You can't really fake that terminology. That means animals out in a pasture actually roaming and eating fresh forage the way that they're designed to. And those are some of the guarantees that we can give our customers because we know exactly the farms that we're dealing with, and we can show them the full visibility of that whole supply chain.
Okay. So, what is it that the Heartland looks for in supplier partners? I know you've got all your meat suppliers listed on your website. So, how do you work with them, and how do you help ensure consistent quality meat supply?
There's a lot of things that go into this. So, the main thing that it starts with in the farming is just simply the breed that this particular farm is going to be raising. When it comes to cattle, there's over 600 different breeds in the world. They all taste different. So that's why you're getting so much of this inconsistency, is that nothing that you're buying in the stores, you can't go up to the meat counter and say, what was the breed of this steak? They're not going to have an answer for you, right? So our farm partners have to use heritage breeds. That means not breed modified, not genetically modified, heritage breeds. So in cattle, those are your Angus's. And you have to be careful because just because it's certified Angus, that doesn't mean it's 100% thoroughbred. So we're talking thoroughbred breeds, heritage. When it comes to pork, we're looking at a Chester white breed that our heritage farm uses. In chicken, it's a Hubbard. And the reason why that's so important is because the industry has designed food now to grow very fast, very quickly, so they can turn it over fast. And it causes a lot of problems. In commercial chickens, so they get so big so fast, they can't even support their weight. So free range or not, if the chicken can't walk, it's kind of irrelevant. So you're looking at much higher fat contents than a heritage breed chicken that had a natural growth progression. So that's number one thing in the farming. Obviously, no chemicals, pesticides, things like that. And then in the processing and the packing, there's a lot of contamination issues as well. So we want facilities that are steam cleaned. You know, we don't want to use harsh chemicals and then process quality meat on it, right? And then on the last part of that supply chain is the packaging itself. There's a lot of contamination with chemical packaging. So you could have certified organic products in chemical packaging, and there's contamination in that. So all of our packaging, it's recyclable, it's BPA free, and that way we know that the entire supply chain from farm to fork is exactly what you expect it to be.
Great, great. All right. Well, the last question then is, we're nearing the end of the year. So what are the plans for the company for the rest of the year and then going into 2021?
So right now we're just trying to sustain our growth and deal with that, but we do have expansion plans heading into next year. Right now we just service the Mid-Atlantic states, so Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, down through Richmond is our current territory. With we also have a hub down in Charleston, South Carolina, and heading into next year we're going to be expanding the territories. So the goal vision long term is to be the whole Eastern Seaboard and start bringing high quality farm specific products to people right to their homes where you really don't have that option currently.
Great. All right. Well, Justin, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely, my pleasure.